Hello, my beautiful African people. We're gonna be nimble in this one. Today we are talking about African scammers versus Indian scammers. Most of the time when you hear about scamming, is always most of the time you hear about the African, the scammers, or the Indians that scam people on the internet. But you all know that scammers are everywhere in the world. So that people, if you just hoping that someone calling you, a scammer calling you, you're going to hear the voice of India or someone or accent from Africa, you might be wrong, because I have seen people scammed in London with the London accent. Even I've seen people scammed in Europe with the European accent. These scammers can speak any languages. Maybe they're using AI, I don't know. But the scammers can be anywhere. That's the point I'm trying to make real quick. Let's go into the Indians and the African scammers. Which one are more dangerous? If you're from Africa, you'll be familiar with the scamming job. But when you look at the history of this scamming in Africa, people think that those scammers in Africa, they just started scamming foreigners. That's not true. These people started by scamming their fellow countrymen. They start scamming by scamming their fellow tribemen or women. Especially in Africa, women are the victim. Most of the victims of the scammers are women. I'm talking about local scammers, because women in their nature, they're agreeable than men. So when you talk about anything, they can easily agree with you, knowing that this person want to scam them and get money from them. But in Africa, these scammers started locally by doing this to their fellow citizens, and some even will do it to their parents. They can scam their father or their mom. They don't care. All they only care is to make money. And when you look at the Indian scammers, I don't know if they scam their own people, because I have not visited India to know whether these people, they scam their own Indian people back home. But we know that, most of the time when you see them in action is when they are calling with the Indian accent, trying to scam someone in Europe or in America or in other parts of the world. So when you compare these two major scammers, the Indians and the Africans, I think when you see that in Africa they scam their own people, there are two. You can say that the African scammers are more of ruthless in their in pushing their ill-gotten wealth, because if you can scam your own people, what are you gonna do to somebody that's not your own people? That's the major stuff. And when people, especially Western people or people that are born in the West, when they travel to Africa, and or some of them may think, oh, Africa is a hotbed of these scammers. That might be wrong, because most of these scammers, they have their network everywhere in the world. In any part of the world, these people are scattered. That's how they network. So if you think that the person might must be from Africa or be in Africa to scamming you, you might be wrong because they are everywhere. The scammers are, they have their network everywhere. In Europe, in America, in South America, in Asia, every part of the world, these people have their agent there. And for some of you who are born in the West and maybe they want to do business in Africa and they're afraid of scammers, that people might scam them. They can only, if you want to do business in Africa, it's going to be good if you find someone in the West already, an African person in the West already, that is your friend and was born in Africa and raised up in Africa and come to the West. So they know this, they know about Africa and you can trust them. So that when you are traveling to Africa to do business, you already have someone. So that you don't just go there on your own, as some people do, and start to look for someone, some business or someone to tell you about how things are being done in Africa. But if you have already someone you know in the West that lives in the West that can help put you through when you travel to Africa, you can avoid meeting with these scammers, because scamming is started with people, when the country is in economically they're in bad condition, and the people are trying to find the means to survive. And people always go for some evil means to survive, and that's when people start to bring this devilish idea of scamming people and getting money from innocent people just to make themselves rich or to make themselves feel good. But the problem with the scammers is that all of them, not even a single one left, is happy, even when they get this money from people, because there's nothing good like making your own money, working or doing business, genuine business, and God bless you, and you make your own money. You go to bed at night, you sleep well. And you wake up in the morning, you're happy. Because you have not crossed anyone, you have not duped anyone. But the scammers, even when they get this money, it quickly disappears as well. Because it's not a genuine means of making money. But some people, they take it as business. That's how it is. People always do bad stuff. It's everywhere. And the point I try to make, is that the scammers are everywhere. In India, in Africa, in the West, anywhere. So, that it's kind of stereotype to say, oh, is Indian scammers or African scammers? Yeah, some people scam in India, but it's wrong to blackmail all the Indians as scammers, and the same thing with Africa, that say all Africans are scammers. They are not. Just a few percent of there's bad apples that are doing this. And they're not going to stop. That's the thing, because it's kind of, some people have taken it as kind of a trade now. Even they're training the young ones to learn this dubious means of making money. The only thing is that people should be aware of how to dictate these scammers, how to make sure they guide themselves against them. And in guiding yourself against the scammers, you should know that scammers are everywhere. They are network, they have agents everywhere, so that you don't just get one side of the story by saying, look, it's only when I hear someone that have Indian accent or African accent, I know it's a scammer. No. Anyone can have an American accent or British accent or German accent, or can speak French. You don't trust anyone. You have to verify people when you are dealing with people. Thank you for watching. Peace.